Another major weather threat we experience often during spring and summer, flooding. We've seen record-breaking floods on multiple area rivers over the last couple of decades. In fact, just a couple years ago, the flood of 2019 broke the all-time record for the highest and longest flood on the big river, the Mississippi River, right here in the Quad Cities. You may remember this video of the HESCO barriers breaking in downtown Davenport. People raced out to their cars with literally only a few seconds to move them as floodwaters filled 2nd Street in Davenport. Local 4 meteorologist Garrett Hyde looks at what's causing such bad flooding and what you can do to keep safe when those waters are rising.
Yeah, Andy, flooding can be rather costly for the United States. On average, each year, costing about $5.2 billion every single year. It can be rather costly, and on top of that, it takes about the lives of about 80 people every year. It's always a good idea to be safe when there is flooding going around. Some very obvious ones, too, is make sure to stay in higher ground. Stay above ground when you can, especially when there's a lot of those floodwaters throughout the area. The National Weather Service very commonly mentions turn around, don't drown. It's not a very good idea to be driving through any kinds of floodwaters. Just a mere 6 inches of water can move a person away, and 12 inches of moving water as well can sweep away big trucks. So it's always a good idea to not drive through those floodwaters when you can. And on top of that, too, flash flooding when we deal with severe weather can also be a bit of an issue for us as well. Big areas of risk are primarily going to be those small creeks and streams. Make sure to watch out for low-lying spots in urban areas. Flash flooding typically occurs when heavy rainfall exceeds the ability of the ground to then absorb it, which for us, at least this year, those outlooks looking a lot better for us. We're starting to see a lot more of the river waters continue to move things off a little bit more on pace where they should typically be. This year, the risk of major flooding is a lot lower than what it has been the past couple of years. We're at about 25% for this year compared to last year in 2020. While the spring flooding outlook at least was greater than 95% chance. So this year at least things are looking significantly better, but still either way, the main issue we're going to be watching out for here is going to be those ice jams and how they could possibly block up the river and cause some localized flooding along the areas as well. So regardless of whether or not we see major flooding, minor flooding, or any flooding of any kind, it's always good to just turn around, don't drown.